I'm going to break away a little bit and talk a little less technical and talk a little more entrepreneurial. I have a passion for entrepreneurship. I have been doing this media stuff through entrepreneurship since day one, so I'm going to talk today about media entrepreneurship and how to forge your own destiny. So here's my statement of opportunity. It can be argued that digital media is the most explosive business opportunity in American history since the advent of the automobile. New Mexico can be a front-runner in this exciting world, but it needs to act now and forget old habits quickly. If you want to stake your claim, now is the time to do it. A couple shots from the California Gold Rush and Oklahoma land grab. That's really where we are in this. Little background about my company. I've given this slide presentation many times. I just keep adding things to the right every year. Essentially, I started as a little LLC in 2003. My first business plan that I wrote was for a sound stage. I had this crazy idea that we might actually start bringing a lot of movies here in the mid-2000s, and so I wrote a business plan to do a sound stage. That actually proved to be correct, so I don't remember why I dropped the business plan, but I decided to move into software. I think it was because it was just going to take too much money to raise. But anyway, this is just a snapshot of how my company has grown. We started doing our research literally out of my basement in 2004, okay? I also work as a mechanical design engineer for an aerospace firm, so I did that while I worked there. So this was all nights and weekend stuff, passion-driven time, all right? In 2007, I incorporated into a company. I did that to draw some bigger investors. They weren't going to invest big money in an LLC, so I had to incorporate. I had to file all kinds of papers, and it started getting a little heavy, but that's what it takes sometimes. In 2009, I signed my first global OEM partnership with ARRI out of Munich, and we put a product on the market called ARRI Relativity. It was an awesome product. The list price at the time was $150,000 US per seat. A little pricey, but that was at a time when you could charge that much. And by the end of 2009 and the middle of 2010, the cinema technology market was a wreck to work in. It was really hard times. You had the double whammy from the recession. There were big companies that were accustomed to making tens of millions of dollars, were making hundreds of thousands of dollars and having to dig deep. So that's part of the reason we parted with ARRI. We were one of their software projects. They decided to bet all their horses on Alexa. But we stayed partners with them. It opened a lot of great doors for us. But reading the writing on the wall, I was a little spooked by the cinema market. So we basically started recapitulating all of our algorithms and techniques for broadcast. And what's really interesting is now we've come back full circle, because now all those pipelines that we worked on in broadcast and media delivery are now the same ones that are being used for cinema. So it's really interesting how we've come full circle. Just here, I'm fortunate to work with some of the best in the business around the world on a variety of different things. In fact, Nosferatu, that will be showing next week here at the Chemo. They use my technology for that digital restoration. We've been involved with restoration of Gone with the Wind, a bunch of amazing movies. Worked on Act of Valor, that was a big one, pet project, because of we got involved to help fix all the Canon footage at the time for cinema grade projection. Anyway, long story short, because I work with such a wide variety of content creators and studios and broadcasters, I'm able to take a look at the common threads of pain, okay? So what I wanted to talk about today, and a lot of the people that I've brought here to speak to you are talking about sort of where things are going, but it also addresses some of those common points of pain. And it's not to say that there's a solution for everything. There obviously isn't. But as long as you're aware, consciously aware of what pain points there are, that is the heart and soul of an entrepreneurship opportunity for you. So how do you create a media company? Okay, well, obviously I could take, this is like a 4-year course in college, or it's a lifetime course. I chose the latter. I really don't think there's any better way to get out there and learn how to be in business than to get out there and be in business and fail miserably on a regular basis until you become this shrunken, just pain-riddled, black rock. It's the truth. But through that metamorphosis, you can if you can get past those points, it's a freedom that's hard to explain. Okay? So my goal today is just to sort of inspire some of the minds out there who are taking a look at all these different pain points and all these different shifts in the digital media and say, I want to start a business, and this is my best quick advice on a 15-minute scale, okay? The first and foremost is follow your passion idea. Decide what areas you are great in and what excites you. Without passion, you will not succeed. That is a fact, okay? As I don't remember who said it, someone will remind me later. If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life, and that is true. So you need to know what it is that really excites you. Everybody wants to tell a story and put a movie in front of a bunch of people. Everybody wants to do that, but not everybody can make money doing that. So you need to take a good hard look at what you're doing and say, okay, I know that I want to do that, but you know what? This little sliver, be it IT or lighting or camera or sound, that excites me because that's going to be your career. You need to build your career around what it is that you're good at and you want to be good at. Okay, so when you're creating a media company, it's really important to do your homework and talk to experienced people. Don't ever stop asking questions. I ask questions here today, some of which I know the answers to, some of which I'm honestly don't have any idea. So you're always asking questions and always learning. So you need to find experienced people, take them out to coffee, pay for that coffee, and you'll get a lot of valuable lessons. Turn that idea into a value proposition. So you need to take your passion and say, what pain point am I solving? So it's a value. If you hire me to do X and pay me Y, you'll get the Z result, okay? Pretty straightforward. This is the main thing. It's like Star Wars. You cannot bring down the Death Star without your friends, okay? So you need to surround yourself with a lot of smart people that know better than you about certain things. I know nothing about accounting. I know nothing about law. I know nothing about sound. I know nothing about programming. That's correct. I don't program one line of code, but that's what I sell. So I went out and found those people. I found the very best people, okay? So build a team around you and be honest with where your weaknesses are and attack those weaknesses with people. That doesn't mean you're going to be able to hire 10 full-time employees, but if you can connect to them and give them something in return for their time, be it money, be it 2% of your company, 10% of your film, give them something and get something. It feels good to pay someone what they're worth. There's nothing that feels better except to be paid for something that you provide, right, that you know that it's worth. Write a business plan. God, I hate business plans. But I'm glad I've done it. I'll never do it again. It's an awful experience. There are some great resources here in town. I can't remember the name of the group out of Lockheed Martin, but there are groups in town that will help you write a business plan. The point of it is to give you that cross-pollinated experience to make sure you know what you're getting into. That's really what it boils down to. You're doing a little bit of market research. You're doing a little bit. You're basically trying to look at your business model with an objective eye. Raise money. That's hard, but not impossible. Be honest with yourself. Feed your strengths, remove your weaknesses, and be prepared to work 60 to 100 hours a week for the next 10 years. Just be prepared for that. In fact, I would say that rule applies to this industry as well. This is one of the hardest working group of human beings I've ever come across are in this business. And why is it? Because they love it. They're passionate about it. And then, of course, be prepared to market yourself, come up with your elevator pitch, and you will build a career over time. It doesn't happen overnight. You know, if you want to work at Lucasfilm, tell them you'll sweep the floors, but you got to start somewhere, okay? And always, always, always over-deliver. If I build it, will they come? Well, the old models are dying, so plan for all these changes in digital media. That's the spirit of our discussion today. They are coming. If you're there to solve problems, it won't matter if you're from here or from LA or from Timbuktu. It just doesn't matter. If you can solve a problem and you're good at it and you have a reputation for being good at it, they'll hire you. Lean and mean is the new model. So you saw all those big, cool companies that I get to work with. and I'm adding to that every day. My company has 4 employees, okay? One's in Dallas, one's in Portland, 2 are in Albuquerque. I've got 10 contractors. About half of them are outside the United States. That's my model. That's what makes my business flourish. Would I love to be able to hire 15 full-time employees in Albuquerque? Sure. But then my business would fail. So you need to be okay with the fact that lean and mean works, and I'm telling you that it does. Pivot is lean and mean. I don't know how lean, but they're mean. James, who you'll hear from later, his production unit is lean and mean. The Bandito brothers, who those guys, I mean, you want to talk about a business model to follow. They do everything in-house, and they did the Act of Valor for, I don't know, $5 or $6 million, and they sold it for $12 million, and it looked like, and I mean, that's lean and mean. But lean and mean works, and lean and mean is much more socially acceptable than it used to be in this business. What matters is the quality of work that you're doing. And if you only need 2 or 3 people to do your job, no one's going to judge you for having 4 or 5 people in your company, or even 2. They just don't. They used to, but they don't anymore. You still have to prove yourself just as hard, but once you get in, they don't judge you for that, okay? That's something to get out of you. Don't fear being a small, lean and mean company. And this is a big one. Do not become, this is what Nick was saying earlier. I agree. Don't be dependent on government money, because it can be shut off at any time. Now, you can leverage government tax law, okay? But that can be pulled away anytime, okay? There's always, look, being in business is hard. It's like sailing the 7 seas, okay? It just is. You can put the best crew together on the best ship with the best sails and have the best intentions. But any given day, it can just be, tough to get through. So what are the areas of digital video media exploding right now? On-set is a big one. A lot of post-production is moving forward to the front of the pipe. Delivery technologies, you've heard about some of these. I mean, getting content to all the users out there. All those companies hire hundreds of people to help manage that stuff. Image processing, IT and storage, that's a big one. That's something that I wish I knew more about IT and storage. So if you're looking for an in, that is a guarantee. That's like choosing healthcare as for your 4-year major. You know you're going to be working the rest of your life and be taken care of. That's the one. New distribution models, new advertising models. So instead of Lucas's technology, it's killer. You'll be watching Girls on HBO. You'll press pause, and you'll press pause because you like the jacket the girl's wearing, and over here in the side on your iPad, you push it once and it's on your doorstep in 3 days. Embedded advertising. Mark my words, that's a big one. Because nobody wants to consume content on their iPad and be broken away for that Ford commercial. I hate that, okay? So they know that you hate that, but that's how it goes for now. But more and more it's starting to get into this embedded advertisement. The Coke, they're going to have green screen cans that the actors pull out of the fridge, and whoever paid for, the distribution, it's going to be a Coke or a Pepsi or a Dr. Pepper. I'm not kidding. And think about that in terms of your production. I mean, obviously you're going to have to get Pivot or some awesome VFX company to fill those gaps in, but you get the point. Workflow and software. Software is also great. I mean, if you have a software degree, you can also work anywhere in this business. Because everybody's having to design all these workflows to connect, and software is like the blood. And then data defense. Boy, that's a new area. Basically, encrypting all these movies and all this content so that it's not stolen. It can only be played once or 100 times. It's a new field that's very exciting. A lot of words, but I have a picture, so it's okay. What our New Mexico government and educators can do. It kind of got cut off there. So let's talk government. Support your businesses. Support small businesses specifically. Media technology, job tax credits that can work. Nick alluded to some things that I wasn't aware of, so it's always good to know that things are moving in that direction, but it shouldn't be an enigma, right? They need to communicate with us. This is exactly what the rule is. It's not that you worked on television and ended up on Hulu, so therefore you can't. It's got to be clear and delineated. Basically, if you're a professional working in this business, you need a tax law that helps you. It doesn't have to be any more complex than that. Get rid of the sales tax. I think that's ridiculous. That's personal. I just don't see the need for it for small businesses. Practical access to fiber. Has anyone in here tried to attach themselves to the fiber? I know that you have. Well, I have. And the bill was ridiculous. So I'm just saying that it shouldn't cost me $1,000 a month to connect to fiber. Okay, $1,000 a month. Come on. So they need to get in there and break that pain point up. Business loan program. Banks aren't lending to businesses. So if it's a 2.5% interest and the state can make money, of course they're going to have to vet like they would any business. But I mean, where do we borrow money from these days? I mean, I've got a company that's been in business 6 years and I can't get a loan from a bank. They don't care. It's because I sell software. Well, it's zeros and ones have no asset value. Well, that's real unfortunate because that's how the entire media industry is driven. Of course, there's some assets, but anyway, I'm simplifying. Incentivize and encourage larger corporations to move here so we can have some anchor tenants. This is good. Talent comes out of these places. Talent goes up into these places. It's exactly what I think Aaron or someone was talking about earlier. You need the large companies. It's an ecosystem. You need large companies so you can have some small companies that can also succeed. And of course, maintain what's going on now. I'm going to jump over here to education in the interest of time. So it's new media. Maybe we get rid of the term film school. I mean, film school has a sexy ring to it, but really it's new media. Okay? Unless you're actually shooting on 35 and that's like your whole mojo, I mean, why call it film school? Call it new media school. And we need to teach the basics of economics, marketing, mathematics, and business to people. Okay? So that when they get out into the world, because, look, it boils down to that lean and mean mentality. A lot of folks in here, if you're working professionally, you're probably doing it as a contractor or with a small organization. The more you know just about the basics of business, the easier that's going to be for you. It doesn't mean you have to do all the books. But again, I'm talking about entrepreneurship here. Provide historical context. I'm a firm believer in understanding whose shoulders we are standing on. Okay? Whether that's aerospace or whether that's new media, you really need to know where you've come from to know where you're going. I mean, that's just my personal thing. But understanding why and how we shot on film for all those years and why and how video, is shot at 60i and 50i in Europe. Knowing these things makes you better at your overall craft. And again, I'm talking to the education folks, not directly to the students. I'm not saying go and change your whole curriculum. But I'm talking about the teachers, and I'm talking about the academics, okay, that this is like the new, to survive in the new world, these are the skills you need. IT and software, I just can't, that's as basic as communication. For my mechanical engineering degree down at Mexico State, I had to take communication 265. It was the worst class where they teach you to do public speaking and all these things, but I think but engineers have to get up and give presentations. It's like what Ted was saying. Sometimes you have to get online and give a presentation. So IT and software, communication, all those things matter in today's world. Provide a wider array of something, of blackness. Aggressively update the coursework as the industry changes. There's one. So you sign up for film school today, what are you learning? 4 years from now, are you kidding me? 2 years from now, half that stuff won't matter. So I encourage dynamic courses. That's a hard thing to do, but I'm telling you that this industry has fundamentally shifted every 4 years. Fundamentally shifted every 4 years. And we are now sort of beginning this whole 4K HEVC content everywhere. That's the shift we're in. And lastly, creating content is a great hobby, but creating content that can make you money is a great career. Okay? Any questions for me? Thank you. TVC, Technology Venture Corporation. I did work with them. They were very helpful. I believe they're still around. They offer free courses in writing your business plan. They will introduce you to lawyers and other people. They will also, if you're interested in licensing technology out of Sandia, they're the kind of folks and it's all free. I mean, everything you need to succeed is available to you. The only reason you don't have it is because you haven't gone out there and gotten it. Everything you need is available to you. Question?
I think the point that there's not their money from banks as well. I'm pointing out the financing will come from crowd equity funding, and I was wondering what your thoughts on that.
I'll tell you this. Back of the paper napkin, which is my favorite phrase, because if you can't explain something on the back of a paper napkin, it's probably not accurate. Get money from wherever you can. Just don't give up too much. I think that the crowdsourcing phenomena is very interesting. We tried the crowdsourcing to take our plugin, as you may know, to OFX, and it didn't succeed. We needed $100,000, and we got raked across the coals in the user forums for being someone with a lot of money that, how dare they crowdsource. It's like, well, okay. So this is coming from people who have done lots of crowdsourcing, complaining I'm taking money away from the, but anyway, I would say that there's basically 3 or 4 different sources of money. First, there's your own. And if you have a private wine collection and you're trying to start a company, you better be ready to part with that private wine collection. Okay, you got to be ready. This really hits you in the stomach. And anytime you start a business, you got to be ready for the consequences. 2, there's crowdsourcing. I don't know a lot about it. And I would encourage, if anyone wants to know about crowdsourcing, this gentleman, Ken, that just asked that question, which was a little loaded, he's got a lot of great information. He's been pushing the envelope on that. Are you going to be at our event tonight at Gold Street?
Yes, I will.
Okay. You want to know about crowdsourcing, he's the person to ask. I don't have an answer for crowdsourcing. I can tell you about investment capital. I've raised both venture capital and angel capital and private equity as well, and it's just hard. It's really challenging to raise equity now, but I can tell you that it's getting easier now. Does that make any sense? When I was doing this, I've raised probably $1 million plus in capital for my company. Okay, I could use another $1 million. I mean, that's the other nature of the beast, is always raise more than you need. So I've raised a lot of money, and it's a lot easier now than it was, and that's because digital media is finally taking hold and replacing tape, replacing film, and it's not just me up here telling you that digital media is coming, it's exciting, and it's the land grab, and you better get out there. So as the psyche evolves, as people are no longer really scared to get out in the environment and spend money because of the recession, the locking is lowering. So as far as equity goes, it's just a personal choice. How much of your company are you willing to give up? I own 25% of Cinnafilm, but I'm in business. I would rather have owned 51%, but I don't. So it's a personal choice. But I have met a lot of people that are absolutely terrified of letting go of some ownership of their project for money. And to them, I say, you probably better get over that. Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, right over here, Lance. And I'll form this in the form of a question as an informative leading question. Are you aware, there's the question part, that the labs have a mandate to partner with private enterprise? So if you've got an idea, there's a resource that you can take advantage of. And there are a number of resources that have already been mentioned who can help do that. So were you aware of that?
I was, and I'm personally not going to leverage any of that, but I've, I would say that Sandy, again, this comes back to my comment earlier, which was, don't be afraid of the licensing thing. I used to be. Be more open to it, and be open to giving some ownership up. And in other words, you have to do what you have to do to make your business successful. As long as it's legal, basically. That's it. For me, as long as it's legal and it's ethical, then it's whatever your brain can come up with to solve it. And that can mean anything. But make sure you get good lawyers. Any other questions? Last one. I'm getting into the red.
I've got
here.
a quick one. I'll come down here. The future of Cinnafilm. What's on the drawing boards?
Oh, well, right now we're just trying to focus on our image processing solutions for automated pipelines. So that's going to keep us busy for a good year. So last question, and then we'll go on.
So I'm a student, but I do intend on starting my own business at some point. So right now I've kind of been struggling with the question of when would be a good time to do it. If it's, traditionally you want to get into the industry first and, get your name out there and kind of establish a network of people. But is it better now in this environment to kind of be the scrappy underdog kind of startup company?
The answer to that is unique to you. All I can tell you is that there was one bullet in my list that said, when you're ready to work 100 hours a week for the rest of your life, as soon as you feel emotionally ready for that, and as soon as you feel spiritually ready that your idea is going to wake you up early in the morning, then you're ready. That's all I have. Thank you very much.